Hi, I'm Marco Rosic, a senior innovation consultant at Science Park Graz. I have the pleasure to talk with Stefan Ponsold, founder of Sunnybag, a company that has very successfully navigated market entry. They sold more than 250,000 of units. Stefan, it's a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you for being here. May I ask you to start by introducing yourself and Sunnybag?
Sure. So thanks, Marco. Good to see you. Good to hear you. A sunny bag is always a nice backpack with implemented solar cell in order to charge environmentally friendly on-the-go small devices like smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, all these devices that get empty pretty soon. And we try to inspire with our products, our customers to use more renewable energy on the go.
As we all know, we have a lot of devices with batteries all the time, and it would be great if we could charge them with renewable energy that we produce, right? What actually inspired you to create this product? What was your motivation to do it?
Back in the day, 2009, 2010, I was at the University of Campus O2 in Graz, studying innovation management. Back then, it was the Bachelor of Science degree. And we had to solve a problem in a case study. And my personal problem was I had this new iPhone. Back then, it was the first version of iPhone. And it went empty, after 2 hours playing around. And we only had one plug in the whole classroom, just one plug for like 30 plus students. So I thought, could it be possible, or is there a solution in order to charge this phone environmentally friendly? And I was taking a look at a lot of energy harvesting solutions. And in Graz, as you know, we have almost 300 days of sunshine, a lot of sun. And therefore, I have seen the potential using solar energy to charge it. And step by step, this leads to applying for Science Park Graz 2010, a year later. And Science Park Graz thankfully invited me to start my company under the roof of SPG. And yes, this was the reason and the creation phase of our product, the first steps.
After acceptance to Science Park Graz, you started to develop your product and your company. But before you decided to launch your product, did you craft some engaging story about your product?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very important to have a nice story to tell. I called different NGOs, non-profit organizations, if there is a need for a backpack with a built-in solar. And Doctors Without Borders, or in French, Médecins Sans Frontières, told me that they have they have the need for 50 backpacks with built-in solar in South Sudan, because they have doctors there and they have some medical devices that needs to be charged. So the first contract, the first revenue, which was about back in the day 25,000 euros, if I remember correctly, was for 50 bigger solar backpacks specifically designed for Doctors Without Borders. And this was a nice story, not only because it starts my startup had some first revenues, some revenue stream. It was also a nice story because they have seen that with an NGO, it can help people, it can give doctors energy for their medical devices. And this whole story was very nice to tell for journalists, for press, for media. We got a lot of articles for free. And this is something I could recommend as well, that you always think of the story you're going to tell.
Your first customers helped you create this nice engaging story about your product and to have a positive story to easier reach the rest of your customers. But you said that you sold almost 250,000 of units. Which channels do you use to reach those customers?
So yeah, as mentioned before, these above the line marketing channels like journalists, press, media in total, some radio interviews or TV interviews are quite nice. We have done also in Austria 2 minutes, 2 million, and we also did in Germany. It's called in German Die Höhle der Löwen, which is kind of Shark Tank or Dragon's Den in Germany. So this can also give you a big boost in terms of getting popular in terms of bringing your product to a lot of potential customers. If you don't have the chance to present on TV, we also use a lot of YouTubers. Contact them at the beginning, ask them if they want to unbox our product, if they want to test the product and film the testing. Right now, we have launched, for example, a product 10 days ago, and a lot, at the moment, YouTubers more and more are bringing out some videos where they show the product and unbox it. And this can also drive your revenues because YouTube, they have the link down below the customers if they're really interested. And they do a little deep dive for 5, 10, maybe 20 minutes into the product. And of course, in the end of the day, the other channels like social media channels, Facebook and Instagram, or if you have a younger audience, TikTok, Snapchat is becoming, of course, very relevant. Also, some blogs and forums and product hunt postings, etc., could be relevant. So you always have to think first: what's your target group? What's your target audience? Where is your target audience during the day, and what could be the touch point to reach your audience and your target customers?
Your customer can buy your product on the website of your company, and you do everything through your own sales department. Is it possible to buy your product in some shops or of the partners or wholesalers, or just directly from you?
We sell it, of course, online on sunnybag.com or sunbooster.com. These are the two brands we have under our roof. Behind it, we have Shopify stores. There are different store systems you could use. Shopify became the most relevant, I would say, the last 2 years. Besides Shopify or our own store, we also sell on Amazon. Amazon Seller Central is the platform that we are using in order to sell it directly to end consumers, but use the system from Amazon for the shipping. So it's called Fulfillment by Amazon, FBA, with the Amazon Seller Central platform in between. And we have other partners as well, distributors and retailers that are also buying the products and selling it in their territory, in their region, in their country. But since COVID, I have to say that the biggest piece of the cake, looking at the revenue cake per year, is done by Shopify and Amazon.
We can see that you have a quite secure revenue stream from the direct sale of your product. But can you explain to our listeners how did you decide on this revenue model?
So we are data driven. We look at KPIs, for example, like CAC, which stands for Customer Acquisition Costs. So how much do I have to spend in order to get a customer? If I spend 100 euros and the customer is buying for a product that has a revenue for us for 1,000 euros, which is, for example, a new product we are releasing, the customer acquisition cost of 10% is quite okay. Actually, it's in the markup that we think of that we calculate for marketing. Another KPI is ROAS, ROAS, which is return on ad spend. So it means how much is the return on the ads I'm spending. In the same, if I have 10%, as I said before, the ROAS is 10, so 10. So the return on ad spend is a factor of 10. And yeah, there are others like ACOS and TACOS, total customer acquisition costs, etc. But in the end of the day, you have to always check your numbers, try to improve it. And if you run out of budget and you see it in the numbers, then you also have to stop. Then you need to stop. It doesn't make sense to sell a product below the gross profit, because with every product you sell, you lose extra money. And losing money and going still to work every day doesn't make any sense. You could be at home and do nothing, which is even better than selling something below the with a loss. Yeah.
Exactly. The goal of each company is to earn money at the end of the day. When you compare your customer journey in the beginning and now, is it different?
Yeah, it has changed. At the beginning, it's quite hard if nobody knows your brand, nobody knows you, nobody trusts you. You could be as soon you started your company, but you could also close your company a year later. We have built up 14 years of brand awareness, where people really can trust that if they buy a product today and it's broken next year, they still will get a replacement from us, because we have 14 years of history. We also have paid back some debts last year to investors. We paid back to Green Rocket, or sorry, these days it's called Rockets, crowdfunding investors. So we are very trustworthy, and this is important right from the beginning, that you build up your brand in this direction, that it also has a corporate identity and a corporate design where people feel the trust behind it, and see that it's a long lasting business. And this is I think big picture the most important things or tips and tricks I would give for if you start your company. Yeah, always think of the long term. It's always a marathon and not a sprint. I met some former CEOs who wanted to sell their company right after 1 year, and they already had in their business plan at the beginning the exit scenario. Most of the time, it doesn't goes in this direction as they would like to see, or as planned. And therefore, it's important to really take it slow, but with focus on brand awareness.
As you said now, you need to have a long-term overview of your activities. Is it really important to plan everything? Do you need to be agile when planning? Can you share with us how did this process work within your company?
Great question. So for us, planning in advance is, I wouldn't say everything, but it's very important. So if we release a new product, we have a very strict process based on weekly preparations for the whole team. And this is also broken down to daily topics that they have to do in order to have a great launch at the beginning, right at the beginning, where everything is ready for the press, the media kit with pictures, video production, different languages, pictures, everything you can imagine is prepared nicely. And when it's out, like we released 10 days ago, a new product, of course, you still, as you said before, have to be agile, because at the moment we have seen that we got, I would say 200 emails per day from customers who have questions about the product, who have some FAQs. And we, of course, handle each question at the beginning one by one. But now we are building up a artificially intelligent database with a chatbot on the front end on our webpage, where, similar to ChatGPT, the system itself understands the product more clearly and can answer all kind of questions it's getting. And this is something, for example, we just came up very agile 3 days ago, because we have seen that we have so many hundreds of emails to answer. And if you do a good preparation at the beginning, you have resources during the launch process for these agile steps. If you don't do a well preparation at the beginning, you already get some struggles in the process, and then then it can be very messy.
Fully agree with you. You successfully launched one product and now you are in the middle of launching a second product. Do you have some tips that you would like to share with future entrepreneurs who are currently in preparation for the market launch of their products?
Sure. First of all, you have to sell your product or your service. Yeah, that's very important. You have to be also the salesperson. Most of the people, me included, that were from Science Park Graz are very tech oriented people. But in the end of the day, you or one of your team members need to be the sales guy or saleswomen, to get out on the market and talk to as much people as possible. Build up relationships. Build up relationships with journalists. For example, when we released the product, I had a few journalist contacts already that I just wrote over WhatsApp. Hey, we have a new product. Boom! I was in Hitradio Ö3. I was in different medias because these relationships were built up for years, and this is something you can always rely on and always use in the future if you have a really relevant product. Yeah, for if you launch a new product, a pre-order would be also quite nice. If you have a service, maybe it's a freebie for 7 days or 1 month till the customer understands the value, and then you can start milking the cow and ask for a monthly recurring revenue fee if you have a service, and if you have a product, as mentioned before, a pre-order with a special discount for the pre-order is nice. The big advantage for pre-orders is that you get the money in advance, and then you can start maybe producing, or you see the potential and still can change the volumes of the production a little bit. You don't have to have it upfront in your warehouse. And last but not least, focus on the right fit of the market and the timing.
Thank you, Stefan, for this nice conversation and valuable input for future entrepreneurs about your market entry. I wish you good luck with your future business challenges, and hopefully we'll see more new products from your company soon.
Thank you very much.